Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 27th of January, year of our Lord 2020-25. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motanoa. Got a big show for you guys today. Nice little good news for you up top, actually. So there's going to be another bonus episode coming out on Wednesday. Got another guest in the can. Should be a good one. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Nice little bonus 60 minutes coming your way this upcoming Wednesday. Do you mind if we start the show? I talk to the fellas for just a second. Ladies, you can tap into this too, just so you can understand what the male experience is like. Actually, I got to tell you, ladies, does this, I was going to say, does what I'm about to talk about transcend sex? I don't know. Let me say it and let me figure this out. Let me talk to the ladies for a second. Fellas, be on standby. Ladies, I started watching Sex and the City. Maddie has seen every single episode, and I was like, it's a part of the cultural zeitgeist that it's a blind spot for me. And like my cultural touchstone of Sarah Jessica Parker is all of the jokes that South Park has made about her. So they're like calling her a horse and shit like that. And so for my entire life, I've just been like, Sarah Jessica Parker, like the horsewoman. And then I started watching Sex and the City. I'm a couple episodes into it now, about halfway through the first season. I don't know. Hold on. I need to say this a little bit quietly. I don't know if Maddie can hear me in the next room, so I'm going to say this a little bit quietly. I'm not ashamed to admit that I really enjoy the show, because the truth is that I just love shit like that, but I think I like the show a lot more. It's just I don't know what it is about it. I think it's maybe part of it is just that it's the feminine experience. Not that it's an all-encompassing thing and that every woman who watches that show is like, girl, I've been there. But what I have learned about the show is that a lot of the dudes that pop up, like a lot of the men, a lot of women are able to look at those men and be like, I've experienced that guy before. I've experienced this situation before. Also have always been told that Sex and the City is like it's like a fashion masterclass. I'm still waiting to see that a little bit. Was always told that the fits that Carrie Bradshaw gets off are like all-timers. Haven't seen too many of those yet. Did get a nice little cameo from Timothy Olyphant. That was pretty cool. Yeah, the feminine experience, that piece of it, I think, has been very fun too. Maybe not identify with, because the truth is that it's like I'm lost on most of the shit that they're talking about. I'm like, yeah, man, that's not. I think which part of it is I never went through a phase where I just dated and dated and dated and dated and kind of just like was around. But I've never had a circle. I've never had that many friends before which is another thing, actually. This is what I was talking about when I said, does this show transcend sex or gender? Fellas out there too. This is it. This question is open to anybody who listens to the show. Do you guys talk about sex with your friends? Is that a thing that you guys do? Do I just not have enough friends? Because on like some real shit, since I turned 20, I can count on one hand how many friends I have. And I think it's like 2. Like for real 2. Like people who I actually in real life, not just like digital relationships where we hang out in fucking Discord or like whatever. I cherish those relationships in a different way, but like the in real life physical ones obviously are going to be different. I don't think I've ever had a relationship in my life with a guy where we talk about our sex lives. And in Sex and the City, that's like the crux of the show. That's like all that they do. So it's kind of been like an eye-opening thing to me where I'm like, wait, have I just like not been that cool with my friends where like maybe it's not that I'm not open to talking about that part of my life, but it's just something that never comes up. Like I hung out with a buddy, I don't know, 2-3 months ago at this point. And it was my first time getting out of the house since our son had been born, like really getting out. When I talk about having 2 friends, one of them lives in Michigan. One of them coincidentally also lives here in Chicago because he went to school here and he just stayed here, right? He does comedy. And I got to see him a couple of months ago, and we got drunk on the river downtown. It was a ton of fun. I don't think we talked about our sex lives one time. I don't think that was part of it at all. Is that the male experience? I'm very earnestly asking here, fellas. Is that something that comes up in your circles? What did we do when we hung out? We got drunk, and then we broke into some hotels and stole some stuff. And then I was out until, I don't even know. I think I got home at like 4:30 in the morning. And for those of it, I know we have some Chicago-based listeners. You know how fucking hard it is to find a divvy bike at 4 in the morning? For those of you who live outside of Chicago, or maybe you don't live in a major population center, I don't know what the adjacent is in like a New York. I don't remember what it is in Los Angeles, or, you know, I don't know if I'm sure they have these in Texas, but like just the little rental bikes that you can take around. I will never use a rental bike that isn't electric. And so finding an electric bike at 4 o'clock in the morning that I can, is it illegal to operate an electric bicycle when you're intoxicated? Is that illegal? I don't think that would be a DUI, because you're not driving, you're riding. Is an ROI a thing? Not a return on investment, but like a riding. Why did I just say ROI? I think I'm thinking of RWI. I don't think that's a crime. I think you're allowed to do that. Getting home that night was crazy. I also think I was disillusioned by I had never been out that late in Chicago. At the time that I did this, I think I had lived here for about 5 years. I had never been out at 4 o'clock in the morning trying to get home. I thought people would still be out. I thought that no, I guess even in Chicago at 4:30 in the morning, people are asleep. Nobody's on the roads. You're just kind of able to do your own thing. So I'm like on both sides of the road, in incoming and oncoming traffic. That's the same thing. In the flow of traffic that I'm supposed to be in, and then the oncoming traffic part of the road. I'm on the whole road, just kind of like going left and right on my bicycle. I'm realizing as I'm saying this in real time that my grandma's probably listening to this, and she's like, Nicholas, this is not stuff that I need to hear. Your escapades while you're out with the fellas, just getting drunk. I don't need to hear about you riding a bicycle in traffic. But the traffic didn't exist, Grandma. That's the point that I'm trying to make, is that there was nobody on the road. At one point, Maddie calls me. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and she's like, where the fuck are you? And I was like, I'm straight up trying to find a bike right now. I can't find a bike. Eventually, I find one. I get home, and where did we get to this? How did we get to this point? Was I talking about Sex and the City? Was I doing that? Pretty good show. Excited to keep watching that. Fellas, lend me your ear for just a moment, because I experienced some heartbreak today that was I felt was unfounded, and something that I hope to never experience again, and that I would not wish on my worst enemy. So the last 2 grocery trips for us, we ended up just having to order groceries like delivered to us at home, because it's just been the cold front that came in. We just weren't going to leave the house in minus 15 degree temperatures when we have a 9-month-old. We just weren't going to leave the house, right? And so the last time we ordered groceries, I see a deal where I can get a 12-pack of Miller Lite for $10. I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to have 12 beers for $10. The guy delivers us the groceries, and he's like, holy shit, that was a really good deal on the beer. Brother, I know, right? So then we go to order groceries again today, and I see they have a 24-pack of Miller Lite for $1 more than what it would cost for me to get 12. And I showed the phone to Maddie. I go, am I seeing this right? That if I spend $1 more, I can get 12 more beers? And she's like, that is literally, yes. She's like, holy shit. She's like, you can do that. It's okay. Now, the context to that, the behind the scenes on that, is I have been on record in the past saying to Maddie, if you ever see me buying a case of 24 beers, call someone on my behalf, because that's not cool and I don't need that. But in this case, it was like we would almost be losing money if we didn't, you know what I mean? If we didn't take advantage of this deal. It's like, okay, $1 additional, I get 12 more beers. Hook that shit up. So then we send it in and we do the order, and after a couple hours, somebody's shopping for us. They send us a text. They're like, they don't have a case. They don't have a 24 case. Fucking God. So Maddie was just like, it's okay. You can just get the 12. It's fine. And so I did not end up getting to take advantage of the deal where I spent $15 and got 24 beers. Unfortunately, that did not happen. That's the heartbreak that I'm talking about here. But I say that, and then eventually, as the night progressed, I ended up drinking enough beers that you would have thought that I had 24 at my disposal, because I was just going through them like fucking water, watching the AFC Championship game, which is actually maybe where we should begin with today's program. Actually, I don't know how true that is. Can I get some stuff off of my chest just while we're kind of ranting and doing some weird stuff at the beginning of the show before we get into the real meat and potatoes of it? Can I give you guys a quick little warm-up? We were also watching some Deal or No Deal this morning. Just kind of had it on in the background. We were just like doing stuff with our kid and just kind of hanging out. Put on Amazon Prime. Oh, the Deal or No Deal channel? Sure, let's fucking turn this on. Dog, it just so happened to be a very specific sequence of episodes where it was Meghan Markle as one of the case girls, right? And for those of you who don't know, the royal family has been something that is used to be near and dear to my heart. I think since the Queen passed away, and also since Harry and Meghan kind of made their departure from the royal family, I've since kind of taken a backseat to the whole thing. I haven't really, Charles was never somebody that I was like attached to. I think William kind of seems like not very nice. I think Kate, despite I don't want to disparage her with the cancer diagnosis, although I did just kind of be like, man, King Charles stinks, and he also has cancer. So I've kind of fallen off the wagon with that in recent years, but as a guilty pleasure, the royal family very much serves as like my Kardashians, you know? And so seeing Meghan Markle in these Deal or No Deal episodes was really exciting. We watched her opened up 3 different cases, 2 $5 and a $10. But I just wanted to get this takeoff really quick. Can I give you guys, let's do a returning segment from the previous episode, a little bite-sized take here. I don't know if there's anything that disturbed me more than watching Deal or No Deal case girls react to the amount of money that's inside of the case before they actually open it and show it to the audience. I mean, I'm talking like fractions of seconds between these things happening, but it still spoils it for me. Like, how about you just fucking open the case? How about that? How about you just open the case and then we all react as a collective instead of you giving it away a second and a half before you actually open it, and now the mystery of the moment is completely gone. It's completely gone. Can I give you another thing off of the top of my head that also really frustrates me? There's nothing that pisses me off more than a song that knows it's a song. Does that make sense? A song that acknowledges inside of its lyrics that it is a song. What I'm talking about here is like a... who's somebody that's... Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow has done this. Where in the middle, in his lyrics, he'll be like, oh, all the ladies in the front row do this. And then like, oh, when you're at my show, let go of your man's hand and shit like that, right? The reason he puts that in the song is so that when he performs it live, women in the crowd can go fucking nuts. You get what I'm saying? Like you're putting something in a song so that you can perform it live, and you're doing it for, like, it's very forward thinking by Jack Harlow in that instance. Oh, but fuck off. How about that? How about a song that, like, listen, here's something that I think 21 Pilots is really good at, is they come out with a song, you hear it and you go, holy shit, I can't wait to hear this live. But that's because of the, like, sonically what's within the song. I remember they did their rollout for Trench a couple of years ago, and the first single that they put out was Jumpsuit. I remember listening to Jumpsuit right before I went to work at Hot Topic that day. I had to open that day. Jumpsuit comes out. Holy shit, new 21 Pilots for the first time in 3 years. I remember hearing the bass to that song and being like, the moment that I hear this live, you're going to feel that bass like in your rib cage. You know what I mean? Guess what? The first time I ended up hearing Jumpsuit live, I felt the bass in my rib cage. But that's the music doing the talking, right? That's not Jack Harlow being like, this is a song. You're not supposed to know that you're in a fucking song, Jack Harlow. It's like when a commercial knows it's a commercial. You're not supposed to know that you're a fucking commercial. It's like Allstate commercials being like, or Dr. Pepper commercials, whatever the fuck it is, being like, I think we're getting too meta. I don't think, or like Uber Eats being like, I don't think football is supposed to, I don't know how to make this point. You're not supposed to know what you are. If you're a song, be a song. If you're a commercial, be a fucking commercial. Don't tell me that you're a commercial. Just be a commercial. You know what I mean? Folks, we're taping this on the heels of the AFC Championship game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. It ended literally 15 minutes ago. And wouldn't you know it, once again, the best rivalry in the National Football League, for the most part, delivered. When I say for the most part, I just mean like, doesn't it suck a little bit that the last 2 minutes went the way that it did? I didn't really want it to turn into like a Kansas City just needs to get a first down and then get like one more first down and then the game is over. That is a little bit too bad, because I think that there was a scenario where this turned into what we had a couple of years ago, which is something that Jim Nantz actually alluded to at the beginning of the fourth quarter. He's like, this kind of has the trappings of the, 2021 game, where in the last 2 minutes of the game plus overtime, there was like 30 points that were scored. We didn't quite get there. I will say, as the main bullet point of this game, it was the last dance for Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the season, at least. Damn it! Oh, it's the last time we get to hear from Nantz and Romo until, we're talking 7.5 months we don't get to hear from those guys. I'm upset about that. I don't really want to start the AFC Championship game with a conversation with like why I'm upset that we won't get to. Maybe we'll circle back on that whole thing, right? But this was a game that from the jump was always close to kind of going off the rails. It never quite got to that point, but I think I still believe that pound for pound, this is the best matchup that you can see in football. I believe that this is the closest that you can come to achieving monoculture in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills. And what I mean by that, what I mean by monoculture is if you are a football fan, you will drop everything to see what is happening in this game when you see that these two teams are playing. I think the only other arguments to be made outside of the Chiefs and the Bills specifically is if it's some combination of Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar. If it's any of those, two of those four quarterbacks playing each other, you're probably going to check in, right? But the history would suggest Bills and Chiefs is asses in seats. Unintentional rhyme, I do that from time to time. Dr. Seuss in this noose. You need to check out what's happening. I think for the most part, this game lived up to the hype in that regard. The first drive of the game, Josh Allen doing his playoff shit where he's just mashing buttons. He's trying to do everything. Seemed like he was even a little bit rattled, to be completely honest with you, because they go 3 and out, and on the second and third down plays, Josh Allen may as well have thrown an interception. Both of those plays, holy shit, the Chiefs could have had interceptions, and it just didn't happen. The very next drive, they punted away. The Chiefs go 90 yards in, 8 or 9 plays? And the broadcast flashed a really interesting graphic that in the first 2 games that the Bills had played in the playoffs this season against the Broncos and against the Ravens, both opening drives for the opposing teams resulted in touchdowns. So cumulatively, 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. The next 15 drives between both games resulted in 2 touchdowns. So it was like, okay, so the Bills are kind of getting off to this slow start, but then they get it together in the end. And then as the game progressed, it seemed like that was kind of the way that it was going to go. You're also seeing, you talk about Josh Allen almost throwing interceptions. Mahomes puts the ball on the turf twice in the same drive in that first quarter. The first one was he's kind of getting sacked and the ball just kind of like, just kind of flies out of there. Holy shit. Bills recover it, but it was also offsides on the Bills, and so that play went back to Kansas City. And then the second one was on an RPO. It was like Mahomes almost, he like rode the handoff too long, and then there was just sort of a miscommunication on the exchange. The ball just kind of came out. He just held it for too long. Ball hits the deck. I think Kansas City may have ended up recovering that one. Another piece of this game, I think maybe I'm getting a little bit too ahead of myself on this part of it, but with the way that Buffalo was able to run the ball in the second half, I thought it was a really interesting litmus test for how Kansas City will respond to Philadelphia in the Super Bowl, because at this point, that is going to be the Super Bowl. We got Eagles and the Chiefs again for Super Bowl 59 down in New Orleans. I am just so... I don't know if I'm ready to get this takeoff, but I'm going to throw it out there, and I'll let you guys chew on it, digest it, and you can give me some feedback on this. I think we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills being the equivalent to monoculture in the NFL. It's like HBO. It's like HBO shit. You know what I mean? Like when they come out with a new show every couple years that everybody's talking about, everybody's watching. You think about Game of Thrones, you think about Succession, you think about White Lotus, you think about The Sopranos, you think about Sex and the City. It's monoculture, right? Everybody is watching this thing. Everybody watches the Chiefs versus the Bills. When you think about it in this greater pantheon of these rivalries that we've come to know and that we've come to love, the closest thing that I can think of in recent memory is congratulations, NFL fans. You have your Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals adjacent in the NFL. Is that fair to say, though? Because I think there's kind of a lot to unpack here, and I'm a little bit worried that we're going to spend too much time doing it, to be honest with you. But let's try to do it in as concise of a way as we possibly can. So when we look back on the Warriors versus the Cavs thing, what did that series end up being? What was it, 3-1? Was it 4-1? Most of those were not particularly close. 2015 was close. 2016 was close. 2017 was not, and 2018 was also not. Well, but you still watched, though, right? Okay, well, the Bills have had some regular season success against the Kansas City Chiefs. They've now dropped to 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the postseason. So, yeah, I mean, in some way it kind of is, right? I'm really only thinking of it in the terms of like, well, I don't know. I was going to say in terms of the stars that are actually in the game. That's not even that true of a take, because the thing with the Bills this season is you have Josh Allen, who for all intents and purposes will either be number one winning the MVP or number two in the MVP voting. And then outside of that, as far as the Bills offense is concerned, they don't have, I'm trying to rack my brain, I don't think they have a single other all-pro member of that offense. So like, it would be disingenuous for me to say it's just Josh Allen out there. That's not fucking true. But you get what I'm saying. And then on the Kansas City side of things, yes, they have Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Yes, they do also have Travis Kelce. Astute point. They do have him. But also, like, what does that even look like this year? Because he fucking has not done anything at all. The Texans game was the best game that he's played all season. Tonight, against the Bills, he had, I think, one or two. I think he just had the one catch. And then he had one that was a drop, and then he had one that just said he was not going to get. I think he ended up getting two catches, actually, is what it ended up being. But it's like, okay, Travis Kelce. My take is, I think if the Chiefs win this Super Bowl, I think Kelce's going to retire. We'll talk about that during like a Super Bowl preview. I'll chew on that one, too. I don't know. I just think it stinks to have the... I don't know, man. I know that as soon as we start talking about the Chiefs... By the time you're listening to this, you know that they won the game. I know you're expecting me to do the thing where I'm like, thank God, what a beautiful day for dynasties. I'm so happy the Chiefs have the chance to go for a three-peat, something that none of us have ever seen. None of us. I don't care how old you are listening to this show, how you have never seen a team win 3 Super Bowls in a row. You've never even seen a team get to 3 Super Bowls in a row. In NFL history, 8 teams have gone back-to-back. 3 of those teams reached the conference championship game that third season. All 3 of them had lost. Or rather, all 2 of them. I don't know if the Chiefs were included in that. I didn't realize how much of me wanted Josh Allen to just fucking do it. Finally. If this was Chiefs-Ravens, I would be saying exactly what I'm about to say about Josh Allen about Lamar Jackson. if it wasn't going to happen this year for the Bills, when he is an MVP candidate, again, could very easily win the MVP of the season. We'll find out for sure in a few weeks. If it doesn't happen now, I just don't understand when it's supposed to, because they looked very convincing in that regular season win that they had just at this point, a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago at this point. Damn it! They can't do it. They cannot get over this hump. I just feel bad. But then it's also like, what do you mean if it doesn't happen this year? When is it supposed to happen? Well, for all intents and purposes, for the Bills this year, counter-arguing myself, this was like we're going to have to eat a lot of cap hits. Let's just see, let's just see. We still have guys on this team on both sides of the football, namely on defense, but on offense, we have Josh Allen. So, let's figure it out. Brother, did they figure it out or what? You know what I mean? And so, it's weird to say that in some sense, they kind of overachieved this year. They weren't on paper supposed to be as good as they were, but it's the Josh Allen effect, how effective their defense was. You get what I'm saying? There's a weird sort of, how do I want to, I was on such a roll. That's really too bad. It's not like a purgatory of what the roster construction was, but again, just because of how much money they were having to eat this year, just kind of what are we getting out of the Bills? Well, they were one game away from the Super Bowl. They were pretty damn close to doing that. And so narratively, it just felt like there was so much on the line. There was so much consequence going into this game. And for the Kansas City Chiefs and for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to do it again. For those of you who are not able to watch today's program, you're using today's episode as an audio-only experience, I'm shrugging my shoulders. Yeah, they did it again. You have never seen this in your entire life. I don't want to say you'll never see it again, but history would suggest it took 59 years for us to get to this point. Could be another 50 until it happens again. And so that was the part that was in my brain, I was like, am I rooting for the Bills right now? Is that what's happening? And then the buzzer hit, and I was like, damn, this is awesome. This is awesome. Because what would I have been saying if we were on the doorstep of witnessing something that none of us have ever seen before in our lives, and that was deprived from us, or of us, from us, I believe. I guess we'll never know, right? Kansas City Chiefs did it again. There's that sequence in that third quarter. Bills go for it on fourth down. Josh Allen, I thought clearly got the first down. I thought he got it at the worst of the nose of the football. And then they didn't give it to him. And then it was Kansas City Chiefs football. They go down and they score. And their explanation to us was showing us the worst possible angle of it. I don't know. The near side judge on that play gave Allen the shittier spot. And then the guy on the far side who did not have eyes on where the ball was gave him the better spot, which actually ended up being the better spot anyways. Okay, that didn't matter. And then there was the other sequence where, was it Hollywood Brown that came down with that catch that, I don't know, in real time, I still don't know how he fucking caught that ball. And then you slow it down, you look at the replay. May have been a Bills interception, but the tie goes to the offense. Okay, so Hollywood Brown gets the catch. Well, yeah, but it also kind of hit the ground, but it was kind of pinned on the ground, and the ball didn't move. So, I guess we're just going to let the Chiefs have this. But I was also fucking confused because the Chiefs, that play happens. They run a play. They ran a play. No whistles. They ran a fucking play. And Sean McDermott throws the challenge flag. We're going to review the play that happened 2 plays ago now. Nobody had anything to say about that. What did I miss? Did I miss whistles? I didn't hear whistles. All right, well, the call stood on the field, so it didn't matter. It's just man, they did it again. You can't kill the Chiefs. I mean, especially not in a one-score game. You just can't kill the Chiefs this year. Including the, if you combine the post and the regular season, The Kansas City Chiefs have now won 18 games. No. They've now won 17 games. 12 of those have come in one-score games. You cannot kill the Kansas City Chiefs. But you know who I think may try? Saquon Barkley. Now, what I said to you guys a week ago was I would be shocked if we had any commentary on the NFC Championship game. And I want to stick to that as best as I can, because the truth was that I was not totally dialed in for that game. Did not watch the first half because I was just like sick to my stomach. I was like, I cannot physically get myself to watch a game that I know that the Detroit Lions should be playing in. It just hurt too much. And then I'm like, I don't know. I just couldn't help it. I just couldn't help it. I'm like, what if Jaden Daniels does it? You know what I mean? No, Nick, I don't know what you mean. He couldn't do it. There's no fucking way. The Commanders ended up having the game where it's that the Lions had a week ago, where it's like, yeah, if you just keep turning the ball over, you're not going to win this fucking game. You're just not going to win this game. I saw some Lions fans on Reddit being like, oh, this is what happens when you celebrate too hard after one win. Shut the fuck up. Holy shit. That's the most loser shit I've ever heard in my life. Lions fans saying that Commanders fans got too big for their britches. Dog, they beat the 1 seed on the road with a rookie quarterback. Get the fuck out of here. Go home. That's disgusting. Yeah, but the Eagles put up 50, what was it, 5? 55-23. Fuck. Saquon Barkley, 60 yards, first play from scrimmage for the Eagles for a touchdown. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I'm like, it's an interesting litmus test for the Chiefs that they cannot stop the Bills' rushing attack. And that's the Eagles' identity right now, is just running the football. They had, 6 or 7 rushing touchdowns alone today. They had more points in a conference championship game in the Super Bowl era than any team literally ever has ever. That's who the Kansas City Chiefs are tasked with beating. I don't know. It's hard for me. Which side of this do I want to tackle first? Listen, man, I know we got a lot of Commanders fans that listen to the program, and to be honest with you, I'm sure a lot of you guys are tuning out of media this week and not listening, so I don't know how many of you guys are actually here. How about Bathroom Tom? Bathroom Tom, you guys remember him? Frequent emailer. We haven't. Actually, I'm sorry, I have to say this. Bathroom Tom, aka Hot Tom. Brother, you emailed me about a week or two ago. I never got back to you. I don't even remember what your email said at this point. This is literally me remembering in real time, dude, that I want to get back to you, whatever it was that you said. And so I'm thinking about him in a moment like this. Like, how is he doing, right? A lot of Commanders fans that listen to this program. And it sucks. I don't need to tell you, you know what I mean? You don't need to hear it from me. Dude, I get it. I also know that there are a lot of Eagles fans who listen to this show. I wish I had a nice thing to say. I really did. I really do. I like Jalen Hurts. I like him a lot. I love Saquon Barkley. I really like A.J. Brown. I like him a lot. Darius Slay, I'll always have a Darius Slay, I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for him. Cooper DeJean, come on. The guy's like fucking Cooper Flagg, but on defense. You'll never see this kind of guy literally ever again. Who's the other guy that they have who plays like nickel/safety? Blankenship. Yeah, him too. Like him. Nolan Smith. Like him a lot. But they all play for the Eagles. So fuck him. Nick Sirianni? No. Hell no. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. But the problem is that he's perfect for Philadelphia. I mean that genuinely. What? 15 weeks ago, Eagles fans were like, boo! Let's kill Sirianni! Fuck this guy! He's fighting with the fans after a game in the fucking bleachers. That guy just took your team to a Super Bowl. He's perfect for Philadelphia. For the second time in 3 years, Nick Sirianni leads his team to a Super Bowl. God damn it. Fuck. Shit. We got to do this again. The Eagles in the Super Bowl. I'm so goddamn tired of Philly fans acting like they're the most fucking tortured fan base in sports. Oh, it always, because they always lose, except for like 2018. They always fucking lose. But that's not even true. The Phillies won. The Phillies have had success in the last 15 years. The Eagles are now what, in their third Super Bowl in 7 years? You beat Tom Brady. You beat Tom Brady. Which, by the way, they did. Kevin Burkhardt gave a little jab to Brady in the booth because they were showing that Nick Foles was at this game. And he was like, KB was like, hey, Tom, you got anything on this guy? You know anything about Nick Foles? Ha, 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 Kevin Burkhardt. We get it. We've heard the anecdotes. Tom Brady hates Nick Foles. We get it. Tom was a good sport, though. He was like, Nick, I don't hate you. He's like, I'm just jealous. You caught it and I didn't. All right, fine. Fine, damn it. I did a little nasal exhale when he said that. That was funny. Good for Tom for being just a good sport about the whole thing, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. Little mini Super Bowl preview here for you. I don't want to shock the world here or anything. You got me fucked up if you think I'm rooting for the Eagles. I don't care if they're lining up against Hitler and Mussolini and the fucking Gestapo and the black shirts. I don't care. I'm rooting for them. Fuck that. I'm not rooting for the Eagles. That's insane. It just so happens that they are playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who are in the middle of a dynasty. And they're trying to achieve something that, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, no one has ever seen in their lives. 3 straight Super Bowl victories. Of course I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I have to do it. I just do. But if Saquon does it, I kind of go back and forth on this. I'm not really trying to throw a stray at Giants fans, but I would also like, if there's any Giants fans out there, I would love for you to chime in on this for me. I don't want to be like, are you tired of hearing like, oh man, the Giants need to be relegated to the fucking XFL for letting Saquon go? Obviously you're tired of hearing that. I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of tired of hearing that though. As like just a dude who doesn't care. I'm tired of hearing that. Why every time we have to mention Saquon, we also have to mention the fact that a divisional rival just kind of like let him go? I don't want to seem naive here. I understand the circumstances that surrounded just kind of letting him go. It's on tape. It's literally in 4K on fucking Hard Knocks. We watched those conversations unfold in the front offices of the New York Giants. They were like, yeah, no one's going to pay him this much, so like we should be fine. And then they get a call from his agent, and they're like, shit, someone is definitely going to pay him, and we don't know who it is. And then they find out that it's the Eagles. And it's like, yeah, get fucked. You guys are idiots. But I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I get it. I get it now. I'm not saying that it's wrong that we keep bringing it up. I'm just saying I get it. You know what I mean? And then the other piece of it that I don't totally understand is why there's so much praise for Saquon in reviving the running back position in terms of how it's viewed as an on-field commodity. And how, 3, 4, 5 years ago, the death of the running back was upon us. And that was kind of not the position that you don't draft a running back in the first round, much less in the top 15 picks. You don't pay them X amount of money a year. It's just not, the position was not being phased out, but the value of it was it was depleting, right? The Lions very famously got killed for drafting Jahmyr Gibbs with like the 12th or 13th pick, whatever it was, right? Because it was just too high for some people. And so Saquon is being championed as like a guy who's reviving the running back position. And I'm like, I don't get it, because not everyone is Saquon Barkley. In fact, most, if not none of the running backs in the NFL are Saquon Barkley. None of them break as many tackles as they do. None of them have I don't want to say none of them have the explosive ability that Saquon does. That piece of it would be a lie. But just like as a guy, how many dudes in the NFL would you be like, how do I want to make this point? I'm trying to go somewhere with it, and I feel like the wheels are kind of spinning. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is another guy that, and this isn't copium shit, like this is just true. Whether you want him running the football on the edge or inside, whether you want him to use him as a pass catcher, that guy is going to be effective in the running back position, the same way that Saquon Barkley is. Who else is there? I'm still going to give Christian McCaffrey the benefit of the doubt until like we know for sure, you know? Other than that, Mixon had some good moments this season, but he doesn't count. I'm sure there's like straight up like 5 players that I'm just not thinking of. But you get what I'm saying? Like Saquon Barkley being Saquon Barkley to me doesn't just change the fact that the running back position, because I don't think there's something to be said about how the NFL kind of evolving the same way that the NBA has, in that the positions, it's not that they don't matter, but they matter less because you use a lot of these guys in like these flex positions where you're lined up in the backfield, but you're about to run 15 to 20 yards down the field on a right. It doesn't matter who's in the backfield, right? That shit is it's all fluid. It's all ambiguous as to where you're actually lined up in the field, because with how much window dressing goes on, right? With how much motioning goes on in the pre-snap, it just doesn't. Am I making an effective point here? I just don't get it. I think that the point that could be made is that Saquon Barkley is this season proving to us that the running back position can be. Fuck! I'm like so close with this, man. I'm in the red zone with this. I just can't get it out. But I like him. I like Saquon Barkley. I don't have any problems with him. But I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not going to root for the Eagles. Whoever came out of the NFC, even if it was the Commanders, I wasn't going to be able to stomach it. And I think, for me, if it couldn't have been the Lions, which I don't want to say this, please don't respond to what I'm about to say. I just need to get this out. Watching that NFC Championship game made the loss feel that much worse. Because I was like, oh, we could have killed this Commanders team, but that's not the Commanders team that we got. We were the Commanders a week ago. And it sunk in today that, like, I watched my team win 2 playoff games a season ago. I've never seen that before in my life. Most people haven't. 2 in one season, most people hadn't. This season, I watched them win 15 games in the regular season. It just hadn't computed that they didn't win a single playoff game. I knew that they lost in their quote-unquote first round, their first game, but it did not compute to me that for the rest of my life that this season is a complete, like, it's a dud. It's a complete dud. And it didn't matter. Speaking of duds, copinghourssubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. This one comes into us from Jaleel. Jaleel, welcome to the show. Subject line, Pistons v Magic, physicality off. Hey, Nick. First time, long time, yada, yada, yada. The Magic seemingly, quote-unquote, out-physicaled, unquote, the Pistons, and I was wondering if you agreed. Jonathan Isaac had something to say post-game about it, too. Not sure if you caught that, but knew that it was something that I should put on your radar. Yeah, Jaleel, I appreciate this. Thank you for doing the field work here at the Coping Hour. If you haven't seen this and you haven't heard about this, the Detroit Pistons played the Orlando Magic on Saturday night. And for a game that I otherwise had to turn off before just before halftime, because I was actually going to tape the bonus episode. It was a horseshit game. It was super physical. It was super clunky. Nobody could score. It was just a bad game. Mechanically, it was just a bad game from both sides. Well, apparently what I missed was in the second half of this game, shit got turned up a notch. It was pretty physical in the first half. Jalen Suggs had 3 fouls in 6 minutes because he was just being a dumbass. But what we ended up seeing was Jonathan Isaac being a bully, the Orlando Magic just being bullies, Isaiah Stewart getting pissed off, getting a little bit physical over on the Orlando Magic bench. And we talked about the Lions subreddit being a bunch of fucking losers the other day. Well, not the other day. It was literally today. How about the Pistons subreddit? How about that? How about them being like, oh, the Magic are fucking dirty players and they're trying to hurt our guys and blah, 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 blah. Shut up. How about that? Try that on for size. It's one size fits all, so it should work out. Shut the hell up. So which is it, Pistons fans? We cherish and revere the teams that are good not just because of their talent, but because they out-physical and beat the shit out of the teams that they are playing, legal or not. That is what they do, and that is what we love, because that has been Detroit's identity. Is it that, or is it, they're trying to hurt our fucking guys, and they're playing too, they're trying to, which one is it? Because I'm the one that's come up here and been like, yeah, Isaiah Stewart elbowing Noah Clowney in the throat. That's the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. That's hilarious. You know why? Because it didn't happen to my team, and it was my guy that did it. It's just a different mentality. That's just what it takes to win in Detroit, right? Oh, Nick, what if someone did that to Cade? I'm throwing that dude in jail for the rest of his fucking life. That's what I'm doing, right? I like to think I'll have the presence of mind to clock something when it happens and call it out for what it is. I'm watching an Orlando Magic team out physical the Pistons for the better part of 48 minutes. Jonathan Isaac going up to the podium after the game. Wasn't even up to the podium. He was just doing like an on-court press conference. Like they, after the game on the court, they give Jonathan Isaac the headphones and they talk to the people that are in the booth. He did one of those and he was like, yeah, Detroit's identity has been physicality, but I don't know, today we kicked the shit out of them, and who they think they are is actually who we are. Hey, Jonathan Isaac, why don't you throw that up on fucking Truth Social and see if anybody agrees with you? Since that's probably the platform that he's going to be hanging out on. How about that? Fuck you, Jonathan Isaac. That part of it rubbed me the wrong way because we don't need to lie about shit. You know what I mean? This is the same team that has been trying to fight motherfuckers all year, being the Pistons, by the way. We never even covered on this program. We like to cover all the biggest stories, and we like to cover them from all angles. What was a bigger story than Isaiah Stewart getting in Miles Turner's ass and being like, you play with Legos, pussy. You play with fucking Legos. And then just walking away. That's hilarious. That's the funniest shit in the world. Did the Pistons lose the game? Pretty sure we did lose that game. Yes, that did happen. But it is very funny, because which would you rather have? Because it can't be both. It has to be one. Would you rather have Isaiah Stewart walking up to Miles Turner, putting a finger in his face and being like, you play with Legos and you're a fucking baby, and then walking away? Or would you rather him try to kill Miles Turner? Because he can, and it's got to be one of them. It's got to be one of them, and I think it's probably, the truth is that I would have rather if him tried to kill Miles Turner. That would have been funny. That would have been funny. It just really rubbed me the wrong way to see people get up in arms over how Detroit was played. The officiating is a completely different thing. I don't give a shit about that. Does it bother me when Cade gets the shit beat out of him and he still doesn't get a call? Yes. I will keep saying it until it stops fucking happening. He doesn't get calls. That needs to change. Maybe the all-star starters have already been announced. Cade Cunningham, I don't want to say a glaring omission from the list, but he was an omission. The guards went to, who was it? It was Brunson and Spida, right? It was Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell, I think that's who it was. The truth is, another thing that people pretended to care about and to overreact to. If you thought that Cade Cunningham was getting in as a starter, I have a fucking helmet that I can sell you and that you can wear that. The best case scenario for Cade Cunningham this season: All-Star reserve, second team All-NBA. And that second piece of it might be a little bit lofty. I don't think it is, actually. I don't think that's that crazy at all with how he's playing this season. He's averaging the most points per game out of anybody from his draft class. He's just up to just a shade under 25. He's up to 24.9 right now. We'll give him the old coping hour bump. That's a flat 25 at that point, 24.9. Shut up. Get out of here. Oh, the Pistons. Oh, they got beat up and the refs didn't give us any calls. All right. Well, the day that you're listening to this, the day that this episode's going to release, the Pistons are playing the Cavs. Kill them. I don't care if we lose the game. I want Ty Jerome in a wheelchair by the end of the game. It doesn't have to be somebody important. Well, Ty Jerome, to be fair, hold on. Ty Jerome, if you listened to the Bun and Cardigan show, a show that James Edwards III previously, well, he still is with The Athletic, and I did, it was a Pistons podcast. One of our ongoing jokes on that program was that Ty Jerome can get a bucket. And we don't mean that he can score. We mean that he fucking sucked and that we could score on him. Ty Jerome went from a guy who could get a bucket to now he is a bucket. What was it the other night? He went 8 of 8. Was it from the field or was it from 3? There's no goddamn way that shit was from 3. Although with how many points I don't remember. Ty Jerome didn't miss a shot though, from what I remember. That's a whole different thing. One quick little sidebar. Little bite-sized take here. I mentioned we have a bonus episode coming up. This gets covered very briefly in that bonus episode, but I still can't wrap my head around this. Got a couple emails. How the hell is Anthony Edwards the all-time leader in three-pointers made in Minnesota Timberwolves history? The guy has been in the league for like 4 or 5 years. What the hell? How is that true? Is that the collective reaction from the zeitgeist on this whole thing, that Anthony Edwards somehow has put up more shots in 4 or 5 years than Karl-Anthony from the perimeter than Karl-Anthony Towns did in like 8 or 9 years? What the hell? How is that true? How do we get here? Oh, yeah, that the Pistons need to put Ty Jerome in a wheelchair? Yeah. How would I say this? What's like the art of war? What's the Sun Tzu way to look at this whole thing? Violence may never be an answer, but it is always a question. It is. Do what your enemy is least prepared for you to do. There's some more Sun Tzu on your motherfucking head. Now, what the Cavs would expect the Pistons to do the day that you're listening to this is fight the shit out of them. It's probably that. So I guess maybe I art of warred my way out of this. I was trying to think of I had a bit the other day where I was like, I kept calling it Art of the War because I was conflating Art of the Deal, the Donald Trump book, with Art of War. And then I was like, what would Art of the War look like if it was narrated by Donald Trump? There's got to be something funny with that. Even when your opponent knocks you down and you are weaponless and they have you should call the and tell them that they are and that they... completely lost myself. I'm not going anywhere with this one. You talk about the wheels spinning. I'm not going fucking anywhere with this one. I got nothing for you guys on the trade deadline today, by the way, as far as the Pistons are concerned. I did start to do a bunch of research for it, and then I was like, I don't think this is the appropriate time to do it. I think maybe it's time for me to just be like, why don't we just fucking wait and see? How about that? Why don't we just wait and see what the Pistons actually do? But folks, before we get out of here today, let's do another email. This is like a halfway blind one, by the way. copingoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. You think about Cade Cunningham, him getting in as an all-star reserve. One of the other players that I think people would be talking about in the Eastern Conference would be LaMelo Ball. And we got this email here from Aiden. Aiden, welcome to the show. Subject line, drunk as fuck. And fuck LaMelo Ball. So I'm just curious to see where this one goes. Hey, Nick, first-time emailer here. Just got back from a night out, so take this with a pinch of salt. I'm an Englishman. 20 years of age, living in New York as a uni student. Firstly, what on earth is up with the political state of your country right now? I don't know, Aiden. What the fuck is Keir Starmer's deal? What the fuck are you guys doing sending troops to goddamn Ukraine? You seen that? You heard about that? You guys are gonna send... It's like you guys... It was Macron who was like, oh, why don't we just send a bunch of troops as peacekeepers to the front line in Ukraine? Poland was in on it. Some other countries who were in on it. I don't remember who it was. I don't know, Aiden. What the fuck is up with Keir Starmer? I don't know why I'm getting defensive. You're right. Let's get back to the email. Secondly, what is up with all of this LaMelo Ball hype? As an Englishman and a Bulls fan, I don't get it. I'm sorry, but this guy is not on the level as his brother, and I'd argue he represents everything wrong with the game of basketball. All he does is flashy, meaningless moves on the court, puts up however many points a game, and loses every time. For those of you at home, loses every time was in all caps. Why is this guy so popular? It seems to me that he doesn't even care about basketball, and he isn't even that special of a player. Just seen people on socials saying, why isn't this guy an all-star starter? And I'm like, really? He doesn't even care about basketball. Just had to get my shit off real quick. Anyways, as a Brit and proud Chelsea fan, love that you know about Leicester and Jamie Vardy, LOL. Sending love to you and Maddie. Thank you very much for this. Dog, so if you're a Chelsea fan, that means you hate Tottenham. Leicester, the day that I'm taping this, I was expecting best case scenario against Tottenham was a draw. They ended up winning 2-1 because Jamie Vardy actually had a goal. They scored in the 46th and then I think in the 50th too, which that outright win against Tottenham today bumped Leicester out of relegation territory. Still right on the cusp of that. I think before the season, the first game that they played this year was against Leicester. That was a draw. And I was like, holy shit, best case scenario. I was like, this team might get 40 points this year in the standings. That's not going to happen. Leicester is not going to end up with 40 points. It's not going to happen. I rooted for Chelsea as a kid. And then because they were the blue team, that was literally it. And growing up, I remember playing FIFA on my PS2. And they had Willian. I really liked Willian. Didn't they end up having David Luiz for a period of time? Am I misremembering that? Did he play for a different blue club in the Premier League? I don't remember. And then once we found out, I found out that Leicester was the team that was everybody hated because everybody said that their owners were racist. And so I was like, this was like back when the whole George Floyd thing happened. And so I stopped rooting for Chelsea. Because the George Floyd stuff was going on. I ended up having a conversation with somebody completely on the side about Chelsea, and they were like, oh, well, they're racist. And I, as an upstanding American, was like, well, I don't tolerate racism in wake of what we are dealing with in our culture. So I vacated my fandom of, just being a Chelsea supporter. And then once we became fractionally more in touch, this is not answering your email, brother. Once we became fractionally more in touch with our heritage, and I learned that our great-grandmother lived in Leicester and then departed from Liverpool, went to Ellis Island in New York, ended up getting to Michigan, and then that's how our family was made. I decided, okay, Leicester City is the team that I'm going to root for. I always think that anecdote is important because I didn't give a shit when they won the Premier League. What was that, 2016? I didn't care about that. That was not in my way. I was rooting for Chelsea. And so now I pick up on them at their lowest point. When I started rooting for them, it was, I think, the year that they got relegated. And now they're back out of it. They're back in the Premier League. So, all right, Jamie Vardy. If he's not playing, by the way, if Jamie Vardy's not playing, I won't watch the game. Because there's no fucking point because they're going to lose. But okay, all right. Let's actually answer your email. LaMelo Ball. Why is he so popular? This is interesting to answer. I think for our American-based listeners, I don't know. You've heard this a million times. I don't know if there's like an international blind spot on this whole thing. LaMelo Ball was a household name 5 years before he even got into the NBA because of his father and because of his other two brothers. And so we spent several years watching him at Chino Hills, watching him point at midcourt as he's crossing it and just pulling up from there, splash. We watched him score 91 or 92 points at Chino Hills. This is shit that we watched with our own two eyes, right? The ebbs and flows of his upbringing and getting to this point. You talk about him playing for the Spire Academy in Ohio. You talk about him going over to Lithuania, hitting this insane growth spurt. Nobody really knows what's going on with him because he's not playing in a real league. Was the 92 points at Chino Hills, or maybe that was in Lithuania? Or did he just have a completely separate... He's been in our cultural zeitgeist for so many years. And I think for him to get to the NBA and kind of just do all of the same backyard bullshit that he has been doing since we knew about him, but in the NBA, and have it actually work, is the part of it that I think is exciting to people. And I also think the last name piece of it still matters. I mean, LaMelo Ball hasn't played basketball in how many years? Like, actually played basketball in how many years? That guy, I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if you heard about this. Very much in the zeitgeist right now because of a little song that he put out. So the Ball name is inescapable in some ways, right? Now, it is very funny for you to point out that he may do all of this flashy shit, and he may do these like Magic Johnson level transition passes and make it look as effortless as he does. But they always lose the game. That's true. It's true. I did see a piece of commentary on this, that LaMelo Ball hoops like he has AirPods in. God damn it, that's funny. Because that's exactly what it is. Because brother, to your point, it's so nonchalant the way that he does it. And it's like, you don't want to be the guy who's like, he's not even fucking trying. But a lot of the times it does kind of look like he's not even trying. I don't know. Maybe there is like some more nuance that I could put on this. But in some ways, I actually kind of agree with you that like the numbers suggest a guy that I'm supposed to say, wow, LaMelo Ball, impressed. Should he be an all-star? Yes. Yes. Just like he was a few years ago. Wasn't it his second year in the NBA that he was an all-star? The thing with LaMelo has been like, as long as he's playing games, he's amazing. Like, he's been awesome. And I don't know how much of that you can really, rather, when I say how much of that, how much of the team's lack of success you can really attribute to him, because I don't know what he would be doing that does not contribute to winning basketball. He scores a shit ton of points, and he's really good at facilitating. At some point, I'm just wondering, like, it's a y'all problem. This is a y'all thing. This isn't me, because when I go out and I'm putting up 23 and 11, then, like, and I don't know, maybe, you know what, this is an educational program. This is going to take me a minute to pull it up, but let's try to do it. So we got LaMelo Ball. Does you guys see that his shoes are actually in like Marshalls and Ross and shit like that now? People clowned on that, but I thought that was pretty cool. What the fuck? LaMelo is averaging almost 30 a game this year? Whoa, 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 whoa. Averaging 34 minutes a game. He's averaging 29, 7.5 assists, 5.5 rebounds, 41% from the field, 33% from three, and 82% from the line. And you might be thinking like, oh, 33% from three. That's not that great. I mean, he's shooting 12.5 threes a game. You make a third of those. In the MLB, that success rate, 33%, you're in the Hall of Fame. You get on base 33% of the time, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer. Shout out to the guy. There's no other way for me to mention this, so I just want to give a quick shout out to this guy. One of you emailed into the show after CC Sabathia got voted into the Hall of Fame first ballot. And you were like, do you think he's going to go in as a Yankee or as a Philly? Damn it. Fine. I read that email and I did like it was in between a nasal exhale laugh and like a real laugh. It was like a, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, that's funny. That's funny. Probably a Philly though. LaMelo's averaging, what was that? He's averaging 29, 7.5 and 5.5 on 42% from the field. And we're talking about, I don't know why he's an all-star. Fuck that. No, this is why it's important to look at the numbers. This is why sometimes you just got to suck it up and you just got to say, it's not a numbers program, but my eye test will fail me. Every now and then, my eyes cannot tell me the whole story. Yeah, I don't care. Because it also, this might be a horrible take. I need to say this out loud. Please show me some grace before I retract it. If we get mad at LaMelo Ball for being awesome, but his team stinks and will probably always stink, is that like a branch off of Rang's culture? No, that's not it. I'm glad I said that out loud, because that's not what it is at all. You can just do the old tried and true good stats, bad team guy. I've had some, I don't know, I push back on myself all the time with the whole good stats, bad team guy thing. Because I don't think in the NBA that's a real thing. I think it's really hard to put up the numbers that, like if you wanted to give LaMelo that label, right? I think that's really hard to say that a guy is only putting up damn near 30, 7.5, and 5.5 because he plays on a bad team. He's also doing it efficiently, right? Who was the last victim of such a label? Bradley Beal got a lot of shit for this when he was in Washington. I remember there was the one year, I think he led the league in scoring. He averaged like 30 plus a game. And people were like, it's just because he plays on a dog shit team. And it's like, I guess, but then Bradley Beal would come to town. The Wizards would come to your favorite team's arena. And you would watch Bradley Beal hit the toughest shots that you've ever, every single time he pulls up from 30. And you involuntarily, under your breath, go, oh, tough bucket. Like every time. So I don't know. I don't like to subscribe to that because I don't think it's a real thing. But I do know that when I watch LaMelo Ball, I do find myself more often than not going like, holy shit, that was awesome. That was cool. And for somebody like me, that's why I watch. And so, yeah, narratively, like I will give you shit when the cool stuff that you do doesn't lead to wins, unless you're like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. I guess then I just give you a complete pass. And I'm just like, whatever, you'll get Mahomes 1 year. I guess, maybe, right? But in the NBA, I very much just want to turn on the game, watch two teams score a combined 280 points, and watch LaMelo Ball do some voodoo shit in transition. That's all that I want to see. There's no skin off my nose. Just here for a good time. Right? People like maybe like a Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets, or like an Alex Hoops type character may get a little, the analytical guys may get a little bit more like, oh, well, maybe if he would swing the ball one more time, or maybe if he didn't do so much hipsy-do and just ran a horn set, rode 2 high screens and kicked it to Mark Williams in the low post. Shut up. How about that? I want to see LaMelo Ball put that shit on a string, throw it off the backboard. Mark Williams does a triple windmill into it, and then it cuts the Hornets lead to like 17 with like 30 seconds left in the game. That's what I want to see from LaMelo Ball and the Hornets. Y'all are here for vibes. I don't want to see the Hornets ever be good. There's a take. There it is. Do you guys also have that where there are teams in any given sport that you watch, right? We talked about the Premier League at the top of this. Earlier today, we were watching West Ham versus Aston Villa, which was fine. This is a good match. The goal that West Ham had in the late stages was fun, and then there was one that got an extra time. Like, I don't need to fucking talk about this. It doesn't matter. Well, Aston Villa is one of those clubs that I don't want them to ever be good because I hate their colors so much. I think that level of that red with that blue just looks hideous. I think it's very unique. It is very identifiably Aston Villa, even though West Ham also kind of does the same thing. But you get what I'm saying? Like the sleeves specifically for Aston Villa, I've fucking always hated that. I never want them to be good. When you think about the NBA, the Hornets are a team that I'm like, you guys can literally never be good. Honestly, the Magic are another one of those teams. It's literally just visually. Aesthetically, I don't think you look like a team that is supposed to be winning. And I remember that was a big problem I had with Brady when he went to Tampa Bay and he was playing for the Buccaneers. I was like, wait, but the Buccaneers are supposed to be horrible. What is this? No. And then they got the uniform refresh, and I was like, okay, the pewter looked nice. Okay, these are fine, I guess. And then the Brady thing happens. They win a Super Bowl. Fuck, Tampa Bay was a Super Bowl? Oh, gross. I remember the Royals. They won a World Series a couple years ago. That happened, right? I'm not getting Mandela right now. That happened. Royals won a World Series like 2015. That sounds right. Gross. What the hell? No. That's a big reason why I don't like the Astros. I don't think you guys are supposed to be good. They're orange. Orange teams are not supposed to be good. Orange teams historically do not have success in any major sport. It doesn't happen. Check the history books. Orange teams stink unless you cheat, like the Astros did, like the Clemson Tigers did. If you're orange, you cheat. What else do I got for you guys before we get out of here today? Yeah, I don't know. Pretty chill weekend. A lot of Deal or No Deal. A lot of Sex in the City. I never mentioned this. I do want to thank a lot of you out there for emailing into the show or just the comments that you left a couple of episodes ago when we had a raw moment here on the program. And a lot of you guys reached out with, all sorts of advice or just comforting thoughts or well wishes and whatever it was. I promise, man, I read every single email that was sent in. Some of you guys like to include at the end of your emails, they're like, hey, you've never responded to one of my emails before, but like, here's to hoping. I'll fucking do it when I can do it, all right? Don't make me feel bad. I'm still reading the email, and it still means a lot to me. One of you guys pointed out something to me. You're like, you could go to trade school. Jared, what did you say to me? You were like, told me to become, was it a plumber or an electrician? It's a good idea. The trade school thing. I don't know about a plumber and electrician. Electrician, maybe. I don't know. I was also talking to someone recently, and they're like, if you need like a computer job, because it's like one of the last major fields that he was like, yeah, you don't really need a college degree. It's like, if you can develop, if you can web develop, if you can program, if you can do any of this shit, like, all right. Which I can't, of course, and I also don't have the time because I'm a dad. That's my job. Don't get paid to do that. I'm a dad. I don't have time to do shit, especially recently. And I did go through a phase, actually, when I was younger where coding was something that I was really interested in. And I say that super lightly. I don't, I know some of you out here, maybe your ears perked up. Oh, he's going to do a segment about coding. I'm not. I just was, what's the word? It's not proficient. HTML shit was really interesting to me. And just like, I can just like make a web page. And all I got to do is type like open parentheses, href, close parentheses, and then I don't know, whatever the fuck else after that, I've also thought recently about getting into like Python coding and doing, I don't know, making a bunch of, like, creating a neural network and then just like, but the problem is the only reasons that I would want to do that are for like nefarious reasons. And I'm being an open book about this, that if you ever hear from me that I created a neural network, I'm participating in machine learning, I'm doing something sinister. Stop me. Don't let me do whatever I'm doing. Don't call the police, per se, but just like check me. Put a digital hand on my chest and be like, whoa, like, are you good, brother? I don't think you're allowed to come in here. Chill out. Spotify listeners, not too much surprising. In the last episode, I asked you guys to blindly power rank like the Kevin Durant moments, what was the most shocking between him going to Golden State, him going to Brooklyn, him going to Phoenix. The consensus was number 1, Golden State, number 2, Brooklyn, number 3, Phoenix. One of you guys put Brooklyn at number 3, and you were like, big stars going to big markets, like, that's not that crazy. And I was like, okay, if you word it like that, yes, sure. In a vacuum, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving went to a New York team. Wow. Yeah, but they went to the B team. It was the same reason that it was crazy when Kawhi and PG went to the Clippers. They went to a huge market. They went to Los Angeles. Wow. They went to the B team. That's crazy that they were able to facilitate that. That's insane. I give the Nets more credit for what they did versus what the Clippers did, though, because that was just straight up free agency. Paul George didn't technically have a say. I mean, he did, because otherwise they wouldn't have pulled the trigger if he wasn't okay with it. But you get what I'm saying. Shut up. Spotify listeners, what do I got for you guys today? I don't know. I was going to ask you guys about Sex and the City. I probably don't watch Sex and the City. I don't know how many of you watch that out there. There it is. HBO. You got an HBO show? What's your favorite one? Give me your favorite HBO television show. And if it's Game of Thrones, can you give me something that's not Game of Thrones? I get it. Although, no, I'd like to meet that person, the person who's still, to this day, is like, yeah, Game of Thrones, I think, is the best thing I've ever seen on television. Because I think you would be lying if you said that the first 6 seasons weren't some of the best episodes of television that you've ever seen in your life. Here I am in 2025 being like, let's do a Game of Thrones rehash. I don't fucking care. I don't care. I don't want to do this. If you don't have an HBO subscription, man, don't just give me a TV show. I'm trying to think of like The Office or Friends. Which one? Which one would you pick? Apple Podcast listeners, what's up? Apple Podcast, what's up? If you are listening to this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys. Bonus episode on Wednesday. In the next one.